Hi everyone, this is your coach Karen Baird, and I'd like to officially welcome you all to the Healthy Green Athlete Program Winter Edition. You will all likely learn a lot more about me as we go along over the next 6 months, more than you already do now. But I want to start off by letting you guys know that I am a certified holistic health and nutrition coach at Healthy Green Flamingo, which is my company that I founded. And I received my training from both the Body Mind Institute and the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I've been an athlete for as long as I can remember, so I'm really stoked to be working with all of you athletes towards accomplishing your own health and fitness goals. Speaking of goals, let's start our program by talking about them. The very first thing that I like to do when I meet a new client after I've gotten to know them a little bit is to determine what it is they're looking to get out of working with me. In other words, we set goals. We set short-term goals, we set long-term goals. We really identify what it is that they want. And then we come up with a plan to accomplish those goals. And at the same time, we both have this understanding that life happens and things can get completely derailed from time to time. We'll talk about how to get back on track once we've fallen off, but for now, let's talk about how to effectively set goals that we can actually accomplish. So the first step in setting goals is to figure out a system for keeping track of your goals and your achievements. This is kind of like in first grade when your teacher had that big chart up on the wall and there was accomplishments and stickers and a way of keeping track of the things that you've accomplished. So everybody has a different system and a different preference for how they'd like to do this. So it can be handwritten in a journal. You can use what I like to use, which is called Evernote, which is a program that you can access on your computer, on your phone, on any mobile device. There's a website called Joe's Goals, which you can sign up for. It's free and it helps you to kind of track. And Joe's Goals actually is one of those charts from first grade, but it's on the computer, so it's really cool. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can use a calendar with stickers, and there's plenty of smartphone apps. And the smartphone apps, what's really cool about that is you can, after you've determined what your goal is, you can download an app which is specific towards that goal. So if your goal is, let's say, running related, you can download an app that will help you train for a race or to help you find friends in your community and to kind of compete with them. So there's different apps and there's all these different ways or systems of keeping track of your goals and your achievements. So that's really important. So start thinking about how you'd like to do that. And if you have another suggestion that's not on this list, feel free to let us know in the Facebook group what ideas you have too. We're open to them. We're open to more. So then the second step after you've determined what your preference is for tracking your goals is to determine what you want. How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? Where do you want to be? What abilities do you want to have? What is it that you want? Fill in the blank, I want blank. Then after you've determined what you want, then you determine your why. And I think your why is more important than the what. This is where you really get into the reason for what it is you want. To find your why, you can ask yourself, why is this important to me? Why is this significant? Why do I believe that this is significant? Why do I really strongly believe that this is what I want? And why does this really matter to me? And remember that you don't have to have all the answers to these questions. These are just cues to get you thinking of why it is you want what you want. Okay, so once you've identified what your why is, then you're going to start identifying what I call a SMART goal. And this has been published, and there's a lot of different people who use this, life coaches use this model, which is the SMART goal model. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, and the R is usually realistic or relevant, but for me, I've changed it to representative of your why. And the T is time-oriented. So let's talk about those individually really quick. So the S stands for specific. So who is involved and what exactly am I striving for? So the M stands for measurable. And this answers the question, how will I know when I've achieved my goal? The A stands for attainable. So this answers the question, how will I get to where I want to be? And obviously, is this goal attainable? And then the R, which could be either relevant or representative of your why, is kind of a check-in. So it's really, does your goal match up with your why? Does this goal match up with the underlying reason for what you want? And then, of course, why is this goal worth working hard for? So this gets back to your why. And then lastly, the T stands for time-oriented. So when do you want to accomplish this particular goal by? So once you've identified what your SMART goal is, then you can begin to identify additional SMART goals for different areas of your life. And I've listed a few different areas of your life here, but I think it's really important that you don't overwhelm yourself by setting too many goals. So I would say keep it to a maximum of 3 goals at one time. But if one of your SMART goals is very large and already approaching that unattainable, very difficult to achieve status, I would just do one SMART goal. So this step is optional depending on what your first SMART goal is. Then step 6 is to actually start breaking down your SMART goal into smaller goals. So what we're going to do in this program is we're going to set a 6-month SMART goal. So that's the overarching goal, the main objective for what you want to get out of this program. And then after that, we'll set a 3-month SMART goal. So what do you want to achieve 3 months from today? And then a 1-month mini goal after that. And then each week we'll have weekly mini goals. So for the 6-month and the 3-month goals, I'd recommend using the SMART goal worksheet because those are the big goals that you really want to think about and think them through and really go through that SMART process. And then the 1 month and the weekly mini goals, they don't necessarily have to use that SMART template, but this is where that tracking system becomes very handy to start tracking these because we have 6 months, so there's going to be 6 mini goals, and then we have a weekly goal for every week in the program, so there's going to be 24 different weekly goals. And if you're setting multiple SMART goals, it can kind of get very complex very quickly. So it's very important to have some kind of tracking system to keep track of these and to determine whether or not you've accomplished that goal, and you can move on to another goal. This 1 month and the weekly mini goals, I would also recommend setting them a few days to a week in advance, and then you set them on a monthly or weekly basis. You can certainly set all of your 6-month goals ahead of time, today, now, but I wouldn't recommend that because things change and we have setbacks and sometimes we are even ahead of ourselves. So I would recommend holding off on setting them all at once and just focus on what you want to accomplish 6 months from today, what you want to accomplish 3 months from today, what you want to accomplish 1 month from today, and then what do you want to accomplish by 1 week from today. All right, and then the last step, step 7, is to share your goals and your mini goals with the Facebook group. If you have any trouble, stop on over there, ask questions, check in with the group, see how they're doing. I'd really like for all of you to have something by Sunday night, Monday morning, if at all possible, so that way we can get started on our goals right away. I'd at least like you to have your 6-month SMART goal done by Monday. And in the meantime, you can reach out to me, reach out to others in the group for help. And the last point that I want to make is that I want you all to remember that your long-term SMART goals and your why can evolve as you do. And I expect that all of you will have some sort of transformation between now and 6 months from now. So your actual long-term goal may change, and that's completely okay. But just set something that makes sense to you right now. What do you want right now? What do you want to see 6 months from now? And then go from there. So that's all I have. See you over on Facebook.